Hi there, my name is Juji. Welcome to my channel. This is a space for everyone and anyone who is interested in exploring self-development and relationships through the human design system. Today, I want to talk about an unusual couple, let's just say. And this was actually really spurred by the Travis Courtney video because they are best friends with Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox. Travis Barker and MGK made a record together. It's blown up. They made a documentary about it. I watched it on Hulu. It's called My Life in Pink. But there was very little about MGK and Megan Fox in the actual documentary. So it wasn't until I saw an interview with them on the red carpet that I really kind of sat up and paid attention, because somebody was asking them about their relationship. And Megan Fox basically admitted that they have an army of therapists helping them to get through their relationship. He's in therapy individually, she's in therapy, and then they see a therapist together. And not to say that it's unusual that a rock star and a movie star are having a hard time keeping their relationship together, considering the circumstances of their crazy lives. But I also feel like I want to say that there's a better way. Human design is an awareness tool, and it helps us to understand what's going on below the surface so that we don't have to blame each other for anything, so that we don't have to take it personally when our partner behaves in a way that we don't understand. So let's take a look at their charts, and I'll give you the tea about what's really going on here. So this is MGK. He's a projector, a 1-3 profile, splenic authority, and he's on the right angle cross of the unexpected. And what could be more unexpected than a white guy from the wrong side of the tracks coming out with pink hair and a bunch of tattoos as this like gangster rapper, and then doing the most unexpected thing of all and releasing a pop punk album that went on to sell millions of copies and get him a whole new generation of fans. He's always done the most unexpected things. And I remember watching his documentary and thinking to myself, I bet this guy is a projector. I'll tell you why. For one, I could tell that he had a really hard time knowing when enough was enough. So as an open sacral being, you're here to really know that you're here to have one less and not one more. But his level of access was always like on another plane. You know, he did talk about using a lot of drugs, and it was mostly so that he could keep up with his really intense rock star lifestyle. I mean, even watching them record the album that eventually made him so successful, you know, they would be up all night long and, you know, probably with the help of some substances so that they could finish this record. And, you know, I understand that people feel they have to suffer for their art, but you could kind of see like from his face that it was taking a physical toll on him in a very big way. So he does have the channel of struggle, the 2838. I seem to be talking about this a lot. A lot of people I've analyzed so far have had this channel. But he does also have two other channels which define his throat. And as somebody who is a performer, I can see why his expression is something that we really admire him for. Now, one thing that I do want to point out is that a projector's signature is success. And that comes from a certain level of recognition. And he seems to be very preoccupied with his success. He was very much about tracking the success of his record through sales, and then the success of his tour through attendance and all of that stuff. And I can see how that would be a bit overwhelming for somebody who's in a relationship with him. So let's take a look at Megan. So this is Megan Fox. She's a manifesting generator. She's a 1-3 profile as well, so they're well matched there. Her authority is emotional because she has solar plexus definition, and she is on the right angle cross of contagion. So right off the bat, opposites attract. Generators and projectors are here to have a certain kind of cooperation, and very oftentimes they end up in romantic relationships. I've said it time and time again. Generators love the focus, projectors love the energy, and so they tend to end up in these entanglements. However, there's a lot of awareness, like I said, that is required of understanding what it's like to be in partnership with somebody who has a different aura type than you, and then also a different authority than you do. I mean, like I said, projectors and generators love each other. Bradley and Gaga, Travis and Courtney, now MGK and Megan. Like, there's a pattern that we see emerging here, right? So this is them as a couple. They do have 3 electromagnetic connections together, and together they are a single definition, but they are 6 and 3 better to be free, meaning they have 3 centers open and only 6 defined together. Which is interesting because during the documentary, even though it had nothing to do with their relationship, every time we saw him, she was like glued to his side in some way. Like every time they were backstage, every time they were at an event, every time that he was on stage, she was standing at the side of the stage. So there seems to be a little bit of a codependent thing going on with them. So let's dig a little bit deeper, okay? So let's start with the fact that as opposites, as this emotional MG with the splenic projector, they have very different kinds of timing. Megan is here to wait for emotional clarity over time, where MGK has immediate truth in the now with that splenic connection. And this is something that becomes really frustrating and can create a lot of resentment between 2 people, because the person who's here to know truth in the now, MGK, always feels like the person who's taking their sweet time making decisions is either indecisive or just really isn't sure about them. And it's very easy to take that personally, right? Especially as a projector who wants to be recognized and invited. If you feel like your partner just isn't sure about you, that can cause a huge rift. And it's already hard for emotionally defined people to be in this world and feel like they're constantly being rushed. They feel like they're constantly too much for other people, meaning their emotionality is overwhelming for other people. So it's really important to honor somebody with emotional authority. And that is why awareness is key. And this isn't necessarily something that you would get from therapy. So understanding what makes 2 people so different, i.e., their decision-making process and also their aura type, understanding what it means to recognize and invite a projector, understanding how to approach an MG with yes and no questions. It can make a huge difference when it comes to people and their communications at home. So I always like to take a look at the electromagnetics between people. They do have an emotional connection of the 3041 from the root to the solar plexus, which is the channel of recognition. And this is really all about having an experience together. They're constantly jetting all over the world. They are constantly experiencing new things. And because they have an emotional connection, there is this level of romance that is associated with that. I can see why these 2 were like from the very beginning. Then they also have the channel of inspiration, the 8-1 from the G center to the throat. And this is all about a creative contribution. So potentially, MGK feels like somehow Megan is his outlet for his creativity. I remember when they first started seeing each other, it was still COVID. So he wasn't touring, and he was expressing during the documentary that it was really upsetting to him that she hadn't seen him perform yet. And one would think like, okay, but like you're in a relationship, what does it matter? Well, to him, it really mattered because he sees his self-expression as his value. So if she hasn't seen that yet, then like, what is she even loving him for, right? He couldn't really trust that she was loving him for the right reason, it seemed. And finally, they have the channel of concentration, the 952. And I actually wonder if this is a point of contention between the two of them, because what are they focused on? For the most part, it seems that they're focused on him, that the focus is on him and his career, that the focus is on his tour and his album and his projects and all of that stuff. And obviously she enjoys being his arm candy to some degree. I mean, since the very beginning, they've had these like insane red carpet appearances where they have like matching outfits on. Everybody loves seeing this glamazon, like, sex symbol with this unusual alien creature, if you will. I mean, I love his look. I think that he is such an unusual character, and I love to see it. I love his individuality being expressed, but it is something that we haven't seen a whole lot of. They also have a lot of compromises in their chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 compromises in their chart. And the reason why this is important to note is because a compromise is when one person has a channel and the other person has a gate in that channel, but that means that they are compromised to somebody who has the whole channel. And he is very compromised to her. She has more definition in her chart, so of course he would be. And that may feel like an imbalance in terms of who's running the show. I mean, anybody who's the emotional person in a relationship is the emotional authority. And in this case, it's the woman. So even though he's having this moment, and even though he's enjoying all of this success, and even though he's here to be the one who's being recognized all the time, he seems to be a little bit obsessed with it. She's really the one that he needs to bend to, and that must be difficult. So these are some of the things that human design could bring awareness to if they were open to it. Megan, MGK, call me. Anyway, I feel like that's a really good place to wrap it up. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Please also leave me a comment below if you have any questions or comments. You can also follow me on Instagram at HDbyZ and find me on my website. The link will be in the show notes. There you'll see that I offer individual human design readings, a relationship mentorship, and a community for conscious women practicing strategy and authority. Until next time, thank you so much. Ciao for now.